Hi everybody, it's Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying another flash fly for you. This is the JC Sand Prawn. It's tied by James Christmas initially. A guy that Alphonse works well for triggers, permits, bonefish. I'm sure other species, golden trevally, eat it, things like that. Anything eats a shrimp on the flat. There's a few changes in this just because of the materials that I have available, but I'll talk to you about them as I go through. As always, there is a list of materials in the description along with a link to Patreon for anybody that would like to support the channel. Obviously, you can see in this one there are 6 tungsten beads. It's quite a big heavy fly. This is a size 2, but you can tie them smaller and lighter. Here's a size 4 with 4 tungsten beads on it. One thing I would say is, in order to make sure you've got consistency in your weights across the sizes, is use the same size tungsten bead. Right, just change the number of them. So I've got my hook and my vise. This is a size 2 I'm tying, and the hook is a Gamakatsu SL11 3H. Just got to run on some tan 140 denier thread, flat thread, Danvos or UTC, something like that. Just put a base. I'll go right to, I'll just start coming round the bend so that if I drop the thread it hangs in line with the barb, and I'll take it back. Now I'm going to add a couple of strands of flash. This is just crystal flash. I'm using root beer, you can use pearl, whatever you like. I'm not sure if there is flash in the original. I have actually spoken to James about this, but about the fly, but I never actually asked him about flash at the time. Just get that on, and I'll cut it about the length of the whole hook. Right, so the whole hook length, not the shank. Then I'm ready to tie in my, like, the mouth parts or feelers, whatever, tail, whatever you might call it from a fly tying point of view. And the original for this was lemon craft fur, but I'm using lemon polar fibre was the original. I'm using Sibai craft fur, which is almost exactly the same. Right, the Sibai craft fur is more like polar fibre than craft fur. It's got a sort of, I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but it's got a kind of sheen and translucence that, like, the Rainies, for example, craft fur doesn't have. But I know guys that have tied these with craft fur and caught fish on them, so up to yourself. But I'm taking this. It's the best match that I've got available to the lemon craft fur. It's quite hard to get. The lemon polar fibre. It's quite hard to get polar fibre in Japan, in any range of colours. So I've tied that in. Again, about similar length, maybe just slightly longer than the crystal flash. And then I'm going to just pull it down like this, and I'm going to just openly spiral my thread. And I'll stop about a couple of mil shy of the eye. Right, I've got a wee space there later, and I'll just tidy everything up. And I'll trim that. It's still a bit longer than I like it. I like to trim this this will be the last thing I cut, but I just cut it a wee bit to get it out of the way. So next thing, I'm going to tie a wee ball of dubbing, just to help sort of spread the eyes. Just gives you a wee base to tie in and separate them. And then I'll get ready for my keel. I'm just using some 20-pound nylon, and I'm not using hard nylon, I'm using a soft nylon, because this isn't a big deep keel like an Avalon. It's quite tight to the body, so you don't need that kind of springy loop. and you can see there I folded it around the thread, pulling it tight. I'm taking it along. I'm just going to stop at that bump. Right, that way it can never pull out. Right, it's you're not worried about it slipping or anything on that side. Then I'll invert the fly, and I'll get my eyes. I make these eyes for this because there's no commercially available eye like this, unfortunately. Basically it's hard nylon. I burn the end, melt the end, £20 hard nylon. I dip it in black paint, just a tiny bead of black paint just to blacken the end. Then I mix some epoxy with fluorescent orange paint, and then dip the eyes and stick them on the turner. I use 90-minute epoxy, so I've got plenty of time to work with it, and I can do maybe like 50 or 60 eyes at a time. So just get these eyes, I'm just going to put them in, and I want them coming back a reasonable, maybe halfway into that tail, something like that. Just take a couple of wraps, wee spot just to secure them and see, check them for length. If you're happy. Come on in, trim away your waist. Now, for security, I like a wee spot of super glue. And that'll soak through and go into the, adhere the thread to the nylon there. Then I'll split the eyes at that hump, and I'll just tie back and allow the dubbing ball to force them apart, right, so you get something like that. And then it's just more of the dubbing. This is just all the underfur from the craft fur, right? I generally find that the underfur from the tail and face is plenty for one fly. I usually end up with a wee pile extra at the end if I'm tying a batch of these. So I'm just going to start to form the thorax. You can, if you like, beef this up a wee bit, just figure 8 through these eyes. Right, I mean, this is, look, the thoracic area is generally the fattest part of the shrimp, really. Coming off of the feelers, it sort of gradually tapers up, gets a bit beefy, then goes back to the tail. And then I'm going to tie in my first set of rubber legs. This is just barred round rubber, and it's half of a single length, right? So I cut one of these, cut it in half, and that does one pair. Just fold it over my thread, tie it in, then I'll pull this tight and across and tie it in, and you can see there that they're sort of towards the bottom. Right, they're sticking out the side, but they're in the lower half. Then I'll just check that they're even, maybe just a wee tidy up. And then I'll come in a bit more dubbing. Tighten it up as you go. Have enough in there to create a wee space between the next sets of legs. So, same again, I'm just going to take a single strand of this rubber, cut it in half, But this time, instead of folding it across the hook, I'm going to tie them on each side. And that gives you a slightly different orientation. It splays the legs a wee bit. So tie back to the dubbing. Same on the other side. Tie back to the dubbing, and as you go back, it'll just start to, or it should just start to kick out. Right, as the dubbing pushes it apart, so you end up with something like this. And then just use my dubbing again, I'm going to come back, take a wrap on either side to get that positioned how I like it. Keep a nice bit of separation between the front two. Oh, excuse me. Now, and don't be afraid to pack the dubbing in here, tighten it up, and you can even run your thread through. You want it to be enough to hold these legs in position. And then we just continue to dub. And this craft fur. And then we'll get in front of these legs, and that will help position them. You can still sort of mess around with them, and to get them into a nice position. And I'll continue forward. Now I'm going to stop, and I've got about a hook eye width between where the tail tie off is and the dubbing here. So I've got a space just there where the scissor blade is. That gives me plenty of space to get a nice secure tie in for the keel. Right, if you try to tie it all at the front, it won't be very secure. So I'm going to get myself 6 beads. And we'll do them one at a time. So just thread them onto the nylon. Make sure you've got them on the right side. I don't like them. You don't want them crisscrossing. A couple of turns is plenty just to secure that for the time being. And the same on this side. 1, 2, 3. Get them tied in the bottom. And you can wind back. And you can see that I've got a nice decent length of tie-in. Now if you want to be really secure you can fold this back, but I'm going to just trim it there. Get a wee spot of super glue. And tie over it. And that's never going anywhere. It's well tied in. You've got a long tie-in point and a bit of glue there holding it. It's nice and secure. And then we'll just finish off a bit more dubbing. In this area, and I've still got a wee space, just enough. I'm going to tie in my weed guard. £20 hard nylon, £30 hard nylon, something like that. Just going to double sprig, so 1, 2, 3. Knock that back. 1, 2, 3. Get that done. Now you could whip finish there like that if you want. Just going to take another couple of wraps, and I like to just cover this as well with a very, very fine string of dubbing, so that from a fisheye view it's just the same all the way along. And then pull everything out of my way, pull that tail back, take a couple of turns of thread, sneak it in behind the eye, and then I'll whip finish twice. And just use your thumbnail just to make sure everything's well out of the way. And what happens is, because you're tying this in front of the, or under the tail, you end up with an effect where it actually splays it. When you cut it, which you should see in a wee minute. Don't use your good scissors to cut your weed guards like I am, it's just laziness. And I'll just trim this. Now that I've got the whole fly, I can have a wee look and I can say, well, about that I think. And I cut it vertically, right, in line with the bend, the direction of the bend, and that means that I don't end up with like one side being slightly longer than the other. And then you just press it down against that knot and it fans out. Gives you a nice shrimpy, a wee shrimp's tail. Tidy up the legs. They should be long enough that they move, but you don't want them flopping about kind of limp. Still plenty of movement in them. And they look pretty good. So there you have it. That's JC sand prawn. I'm just going to stick a wee bit of super glue on that. Whip finish. Just to secure it. Just quickly rub it. I mean, you don't need to worry about building a nice shiny head or anything in this because it's all hidden. If you want to protect the super glue from the salt water, you can come in with a wee bit of head cement if you really must, but in this case it's not really necessary, I would say. So there you go. So it's a wee bit of an involved tie, but I think it's worth it. It's a very effective pattern. Weed guard's optional obviously, but I think it's worth sticking on. So there you go. Hope that was useful, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to subscribe and give me a thumbs up below. And don't forget to tune in for the next video. Thanks guys, bye.